Welcome to the day two of React development course. Okay, so it is all about the day two. So the last class in the day one, we have completed the basics and introduction parts about React, right? So today we're going to work with the little bit some more advanced concept that we need to focus when it comes to React, and that is the one thing that we need to going to focus now. So if you are joined into the live, just tell your name in the chat box, and I think the chat box is enabled. So if you are in the live, please comment your name in the chat box. And if you have any doubts regarding the React, you can tell it in the chat box now. Okay, we will discuss for the first 5 minutes also, if possible. We will continue. Okay. So in the last class, what we have discussed is we basically uh, discussed all about React, like how what are the use cases, how it is differ from the normal JavaScript to the uh, sorry normal JavaScript to this React. Why we need to use React library? All those things that we have discovered, right? We have discussed it, and we have with that we have worked with what is component and what is the file structure of React. So that's what we have worked with. So today we're going to see much more deeper into components. Okay. So we're going to see about that. And yesterday we have covered the JS6. So what are the common rules of JS6 we have covered? For example, you should not use the keyword that is all that are pre-filtered in JavaScript keyword that we should not use it. And we discussed about only one parent element should be rendered from a component. So that is the syntax, and how JavaScript can incorporated in an HTML, how HTML can incorporated in a JavaScript, all those things that we have discussed, right? So now we're going to see much more thing. Okay, so related to components, and we're going to see about how to render our application dynamically. Okay, so we're going to create an application that is there is a dynamic application that we're going to create, and like how can we pass the dynamic data to our application, that is also we're going to discuss. Okay, so much of things that we're going to cover now. Okay, today we're going to cover, and those are the fundamental things. Okay, so they are going to be the fundamental concepts, and they will be helpful in building any websites. Okay, so web application we need to learn much more, but when it comes to website, so whatever we're going to learn today, it is going to be really helpful for static websites. And once you complete a static website, we will see like how to work with APIs and generate those things and everything we will discuss. Okay. So the today's first concept is going to be props. Okay. And also we're going to discuss about the components, most important components. So we only yesterday we have discussed about the yeah. Yesterday we have discussed about this one, right? So function based component. How can we create a component using functions, right? So that is what we have discussed yesterday. So we will discuss today about how can we create a component in classes, okay, and then see about what is the difference between classes and function and how it is working and all those things. Okay, so if you are in, just tell your name in the chat. Okay, okay. So, and speaking about this workshop, this is a 4 days of workshop. So if you are attending this 4 days regularly and filling out the form, okay. So regularly, if you are filling out the form for this attendance form, you will get a certificate. Okay, so that's what it is. Okay. Yeah. So it is a second day. It is a second day. So if you missed the first day, so the live is already there, the YouTube channel only. So you can watch the first day, and the live chat is also enabled. You can take the attendance form, okay, from the first day of live chat, and you can fill it. Okay, if you filled all the 4 days of attendance, you will get a certificate of React. Okay, before ending of this 4 days workshop, you just want to fill all the 4 days of the certifications. Okay, so that's what you need to do. Okay, so let us jump into the concept. Okay. So yesterday we have created a folder, right? Let us go for that folder, and that is what somewhere here, uh, React workshop. So this is what the folder that we have created, and we have discussed about what are the structure and why it is useful for and everything. Okay. I'm going to open it with my Visual Studio Code. Okay. And I just going to end up here. And the next thing what I'm going to do is, okay, okay, I just going to open my browser. Okay, that's it. And we will keep it here. That's it. So now what I'm going to do, I just going to start the server. Okay. So for that, what you need to do, just terminal. You can use VS Code terminal or you can use the default terminal. But my recommendation, go for Git Bash. So if you install Git Bash properly, then you can able to see an option to change your PowerShell into Git Bash. Just click on this option and use Git Bash. You can able to control the Git Bash in VS Code itself. Okay. Here, what is the command that you want to write is npm start. So what is npm? Npm is a node package manager. So whatever the plugins and whatever the things that you want, you need to install from this packages only. Okay. So this manages package manager only. You need to install it. So here what I'm telling. So start my server. Okay. So whatever the file that I'm having in React, just go and start my server. I'm just going to say npm. I'm just going to say start. Okay. And I click on start. And within a second, you can able to see a development server will be run for us and it will be started to render in our default browser that we have opened. So let's wait for the server to start. Don't care about the deprecated warnings that happens because of the webpack. And this is the site that this is the thing that we have yesterday worked. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to leave this down. And here we're going to remove all the clutter files. This fab icon yesterday, we don't want this. So we delete this and we don't want this one, this one, and this one. And we know about why we need actually this file, right? Okay, so we know about why we need this index.html file because inside this root only we are rendering all our components. Okay, so all our small components we are grouped together and we are rendering inside this root only. So index.html file is important in the public file. All other files are not needed. And here when it comes to src, you can remove everything. So yesterday we have created a component and car.js file, and we need an app.js file, index.js file. And other than that, whatever files that you have, you can remove files, this file, all other files you can remove it like this. So index.js file, it is what creating a root file with the index.html file. It's basically connecting your root file with the index.html file. That is what it is doing. And here in this app.js file, so app.js file is like a place we are creating small component, right? And all the small components are grouped together, form an entire site. And app.js file is that kind of thing. So we will create small component, and with the help of this only app.js we are rendering it, and we are sending that entire component, that big component, into here to render it in our html. That is what the entire website. Okay, and for components we have created a separate file, and inside this component we have created a only one component right now, that is going to be a function based component. Okay, so here it is saying cannot resolve that app.src, some compilation error has happened because app.css file is not existent. I think we have removed it. So what we can do, we can create an app.css file because somewhere we imported it. So here you can see we have imported it. Either we remove this one, okay, we save it. So now the compilation error will not come, but you can see the site is changed a lot. So what I'm going to do, let us create a css file here. So there are lots of ways to add your CSS file. Like we have styled components, we have tailwind CSS, and we have so much of things to add, ways to add your CSS file. But as you are starting, you can just add like this. Okay. So I just going to say app.css. Okay. This is our CSS file, and here I just want to say, here I just want to import this app.css file. That's it. App dot inside this src folder. Okay, so now app.css file. First what we need to do, let us go for this component core.js, and I just going to remove this we need app.js, we don't want index.html, and we need app.css, and we don't want index. So this is our top component. This is our small component, and you can see we have a card. So why we given a class name? Because when you are writing a keyword that is like reserved words in JavaScript, so those syntax, those words have a different name. Okay, in JSX. So class is a reserved word in JavaScript. That is why we have a different name. So here we are assigning a class that is going to be card. So now I just going to say inside the card. Okay, inside the card, just going to say inside the card, I have an image. Please make sure the width of the image is 30% of the entire screen. And now if I save it, you can able to see all these things. So this is the basic structure file that we have. We actually got. And for creating a class-based component, like sorry, function-based component, what are the things that we need to do? Well, we need to create either with a declaration function or an arrow function. You can create it, and you need to return what you're going to return. And only one single parent should be there. And whatever the HTML file that you want to return, you can return it like this. Okay, so that's what you need to do. And if you want to write further JavaScript inside this HTML file, you need to use this curly braces, and then inside that you need to write it. Like say 1 multiplied by 6 like this. If you write it, we will get the answer of it. Okay. So likewise, you can able to do JavaScript code inside the HTML. And again, if you want to return something, you can return it also. Okay. So now that's all about. So now what we're going to do. So this is function based component, right? So let's see about how we can create a component by using class base. Okay, so what I'm going to do here, I just going to create in another folder, and I just going to say what we can say in another card class. I just say class for all the component, that is we have class name component. And for saving the file, either you can give JS or you can give JS. Okay, give JSX, then you can able to see the React symbol. And if you say JS, you will get probably JavaScript symbol. And this is an extension. Okay, so material theme icon. Okay, so that's what it is. So I just going to save it. So any you can give JS or JSX, anything. Okay, it will be work. JSX is pretty like straightforward. Okay, so now what we going to do? We're going to create a component for class based component. Okay, I'm just going to say import. Okay, say React. Okay, and I just going to say import. Sorry, React DOM from the React. And here, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to create a class. Okay, and writing a class-based component, you need to know about how to write a class in JavaScript. So if you don't know about the ES6 of JavaScript, please make sure watching the previous month ES6 classes of JavaScript. Okay. So after writing class, you need to tell what is the component that you're going to write. So here I just going to say here React DOM is not necessary. You can simply write like this. React import React here. And what you need to do here, you need to tell the name of your component. So I just going to say name is going to be called class. This is what my name. It is an extends. And what is extends? We know that class inheritance, right? So inheritance means inheriting a class. So right now I'm extending this class from the default class, that is React. Okay, where what I am extending means just have React extending from the React component. There is a object called React component is there. Okay, so that is the prototype, and with the help of that prototype, I'm creating a code class. Okay, so this is going to create another prototype, and with the help of this prototype, we're going to create our own components. So that's it, and just open the curly braces. And here, what you need to write is you need to write render. Okay, what you want to render once this class component is executed. What you want to render? Well, what I want to render is I just want to return. Okay. If you want to write a group of things, you can use the return keyword. You can say do. And in class, it is straightforward. Function return. So we use mostly, right? For when it comes to class, you need to write the render. What I want to render when the class is executed. And what I'm going to return the things. Okay, that's what it is. And here, what I'm going to do, I just going to say inside the div, I'm going to say hello. One, I just going to say hello everyone. Okay, and let us add the paragraph that from the and right now That's it. What class component is, and if you want to export it, the same export default, and what is the name of the class? It is going to be class, and you just want to export it here. Okay, like this. Now it is exported. Where I want to import, you can import it here. So I want to import it in the app.css file, app.js file. I remove all the component. I'm going to work with this function component. Remember, this component is created by function base, and this component, what I'm going to import, it is created by class based component. So I just going to say code code class. I think this is the name, right? Let me check with the name of the. It is code class. Okay, so just go for app.js. Yeah, here we will add the code class component like this. Let me save it. And here you can see code class is not defined because we need to import it. So just going to say import. In some times it is automatically imported, but sometimes you need to import it. So I'm just going to say I just want to import the code class from where it is in the component slash code class. And let me save this one. And now you can see it is created by the function based component. So what is the difference between class based component? What is the difference between a class based component and function based component? Well, the function based component is created by using the JavaScript function. It is pretty straightforward and easy to write, and functions are more flexible than classes, right? So classes, it's complicated, and we just creating a component and we just adding return keyword, and whatever I want to return I can write like here. But when it's going to come to class component, you need to do some extra steps. Like you need to tell class and you need to say code class extended from the React component. So React is the one that we are exporting. So from that prototype, so there is something called as component is there inside the React. Okay, so that is the class as and another class. So we are inheriting that. So either you can write like React.component, or what you can do is here you can remove the React. Here you can destructure it. You can simply say component, we need the component, right? And here you can destructure it and write like this. Okay? And it will be accessible. So destructuring, that is also ES6 concept. So lot everything in React is going to be ES6. Okay, so if you are not familiar with ES6, then React is a pretty tougher one for everyone. Okay, so without ES6, don't like started to learn React. It will be like very tough for you guys. Okay? We are just destructured the component. We need only the component from the React package, so that we have destructured it here and we are using here. And we are rendering what we want to render, and what I want to return here we are mentioning it. So according to JavaScript syntax, we need to have only one parent. And if you want to add a class, you just want to mention it in a class name, and you can say code class. What is the so whatever you want to give, you can give it here. Code class. And here you can give the background color, let me give orange. This is how it will be work. Okay, so these are all the syntax, and this is the difference between class based component and the function based component. So differences are the syntax, okay, and way of writing it. Okay, so that is the first difference. I hope everything is clear for now. Okay, so the next one what we're going to see, it's all about props. Okay, sorry. So now what I'm going to do, I just going to have this in this app.js. Instead of one chord, I'm just going to have chord files or three chord files like this. The last class we had a three chord files. So now what I want to do, I don't want to render it. Like yesterday I said that each and everything is a component, and but we can able to change the content dynamically, right? So here you can see we have a bird, here also a bird, and here also a bird. Why? Because that is the image that we directly added it. But I don't want that. So the first component I need bird, second component I need an animal, third component I need a reptile, like that. Okay. So I need to render it dynamically. So how can I do it? How can we do it? How, instead of giving the values directly, how can we do it? So that is called as props. So props are nothing but properties. Okay. Simply sending a property to your component. Okay. So that's what it is. Let me see that how can we send it. Simply here, when you are calling the call, you can be able to give like the dynamic value to it. For example, I just gave name, okay, and I just going to say hello. Like this. Give name, and I just going to say hello here. And they are going to be the same component. Right? So I just going to do the same thing, name hello, and here hello. And here instead of hello, I just going to say hello world, and here I just going to hello everyone. Like this. Okay. Now what I can do, I just go here in the core.component, and here whatever we are giving here, okay. So it is like a property that we are passing to the function. So I just going to mention here ops, okay. And here I'm asking for, can you please tell what is prop here? Okay. So the naming is depends upon you, but props is the app name. Okay. So whatever the value that we are giving here, it will be accessed inside the parameter of an function. So I just go here and just click on the inspect, click on the console. Now you can see it is rendering me an object. And if I click it, you can see whatever the props that we have passed. You can able to see name, hello, and don't care about this line error. Okay, this is because of some other errors. Okay, not ours. Okay, so and you can able to see name. The second component is rendering hello world, and the third component is rendering hello everyone. And if I don't want an object, I want only the value. What we need to do, well, this is an object and this is a property. And what is the object? The object is nothing but props. And if I want to access the property of the props, then I just want to do dot, and I just want to do what is the key I want to access. Save it. You see we are getting hello world. I just give a refresh and I just save it. You can see hello world, hello everyone. So we are accessing the values, right? So now what I want to do, instead of sending a name, I just going to send an image file. So what I going to do, I just going to say data, and here I just going to pass an object. I just say name, okay, and here the values are going to be, we pass the image, okay. So not image, I just go for unflash. Okay. So to get some images, let us go for birds. Okay. So let us go for this one. Copy the image address. Okay. And let me, instead of this, I'm just going to say image. And I just going to pass it here. That's it. And now I can give another value also. What is the value I want to give is? So here you can see we have an H1, right? So instead of writing dates, I just want to tell what is the image that I pass. Okay. So here I just going to say in app.js, I'm going to pass another one that is going to be a name, and that is going to be words. Like this. Dynamic data we are passing. Two data, we are passing an object, and inside that object, we're going to have two properties. One is an image, address, and another one is name of the particular thing. Okay, that's what we are passing. So right now we have birds. So the next what we want is going to be animals. Okay, it's going to be animals. Let me tag like this cat. Okay, and we remove this one. Give data again, and let us give here. And if I say image, let us give image. And if I say name, it's going to be cat. Okay, and let us go for another this one. Okay, a polar bear saying hi to everyone. Okay, so I just going to read this one data I'm passing. Okay, like this. And here I just going to have an image. Okay, and here I'm just going to I'm just going to pass the image address, same process. Okay, and here I'm just going to say name, and I just say polar. Okay, that's what it is. Now let us go for our React application. Okay, and here so you can say we are getting some error. So what is the error that we are getting is it is from the call. So whatever the value that we are passing, it is getting here. So what I'm going to do, I just going to remove this one ops.move, and I just going to save it here. Okay, and yeah, so you can see what we are getting. We are getting an error called module. Sorry, sorry, it is getting that module build fail, which means like it is telling that we are not able to do something what you have access here. So why this is happens, this is happens because of we are passing an object here, and it is what that happening here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is going to pass two data inside that object, so like this, and it is going to use a comma, not a comma, it is use a space, and it is use an equal sign here. Like this, we can pass it because all the data are go here, and it will be passed into an object only. We can pass this one. Okay, you can also pass object also. I will explain that. Okay, how can you pass an object? Okay, and where we are getting the error, we are getting the error in the first line itself, right? Yeah. Okay, so just remove this image equal to, and let me save this one. Okay, and here we are getting an another error. Okay, so what is the error that we are getting? I think we have missed out some of the syntax. Okay, let me see that one. Okay, so yeah, now we are not getting any errors. So you can able to see in our console the props rendering all the images and name. So now what I'm going to do, I just going to destructure the values here. You can see the props, console.log props. We having an object, and the object having an image, and the object having the name. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to destructure it here. How can I destructure? I can simply use const. It is an object. I'm just going to use curly braces object. I'm just going to say props. This is the thing that I want to destructure. And what are the keywords that I want to destructure? Well, it is going to be the image, and it is going to be the name, right? So I just going to mention exactly the same image name. If you make sure that you are not giving any typos, if you give any typos, then it will be probably not destructured. Okay? Now, if I save it, we check whether it is successfully destructured or not. We will just, and here I'm asking for what is image only. Okay, let me ask for image only. You can see they are getting all the image. And if I ask for what is the name, you can see we are getting the image. Where is the name? I think the name. Yeah, we are getting the name here. Birds, cat, polar. Okay. So now what I'm going to do? I'm going to use this one. How can we use this one? Well, first I want to use the image instead of this static data. If you, this is an JavaScript variable, right? If you want to incorporate that one, then just you need to give this dollar sign, and here you need to mention what you want to incorporate. Okay, dollar, I need to take up the value that is image, that is what I destructured. And here inside this h1, I just want to render name. And if I save it, now you can see the same component, only one component rendered for 3 times, and all the components having their own dynamic data. The first component is having a data that is the birds and the image of a parrot, and it is rendering the dynamic data to here. And the second thing is having the cat, and it is going to have the image file, and it is rendering here. And the polar bear, and it is here, it is rendering here. Okay, so this is what all about props. Okay, so props are simply passing a data from one component to another component. Okay, so that's what all about props. Okay, clear? I think you got it. What is props is. Okay, so yeah, that's what props is. Okay, so this is what you need to do with here. So what if I want to send a props, okay, property to one of class based component? How can we send it? Okay, so here the same process. I'm going to say name. Okay. I just going to say say my name, and I just going to pass inside this class-based component. So if you want it, then what you need to do is you need to call inside this render, you need to call console.log. Or if you want to access the props, you need to use the this keyword. So if you use the this keyword refers to the place like whom it's called, right? This refers to the this is what it refers to. It always refers to the function that it's property of, right? So right now the this keyword is always refers to the place where it is invoked. Okay, so where it is called. Okay, where it is because of this dynamicity. So now I am asking this chord class, what is that? What is the property that it is having? So I'm asking for it. And I just want this dot, what is the property of it? So you need to ask for this dot props. Okay. You ask for this dot props, and you can able to see what is the property that we are getting here in the console. You can see we are getting an object. If I click it, you can see we are getting the name. In function, you don't want to give the this keyword. Okay. So because in function, the this always refers to a Windows object. But in class-based component, this keyword plays an important role, right? Because this is a dynamic keyword and that is used to render to fetch the dynamic place where we can able to access. Okay. So now if I want to access a variable, then I want to say this dot name. Okay. This dot name, and I just you can see we are getting the name. So if I want to use it, then simply I just remove this hello everyone and just use the curly braces the same, but only the syntax is this dot top dot name. Okay, that's what it is. If you render it, you can able to see we are getting the data. The same like that, you can pass the data. Okay, so pass the data from a one property to another property, and you can prop it. And you can, if you like to destructure here, you can destructure it. How can we destructure this dot props? So simply ask for this dot props. Okay? And whatever you want to destructure, you can mention it. So right now it's having only name. I just want only name. What is name? And you don't want to write every time this dot props, this dot props. You can simply call the destructure value, and it will be work fine. You can see it will be work fine. So you can destructure like this. Okay. This is the handling properties in a function-based component and class-based component. The syntax is vary and the way of how the properties is like accessing the properties is also vary. Okay. So these are all the things that you need to focus when it comes to function-based and class-based component. Okay. Okay. So the next one, what we're going to is we're going to see about list rendering. Okay. So what is list? Let me see that. What I'm going to do. So here in the core.js file, okay. So what I going to do is I just going to create another file. Okay, I just going to create a component. I just going to say list.js and let us create a component. So for creating a component, I just say const, okay, list, and this is going to be a function, and that function is going to return us. Okay, this function is going to return something. I just going to say h1, and here I will be see hello world like this. Okay, and I just going to say export default list. Save it, go for your core.js, and I just going to import it here. Okay, I'm going to use it here, not the app.js. Going to say import some list, and where I want to import this before the paragraph tag, I just want to import the list. Okay, so like this, small component, big component, and all the component together. Now you can get hello world, all the components below the h1 tag. You can have it, right? So now what I'm going to do is, what I'm going to do is, let us say we have an array. Okay, we have an array. So how can we render that one? Okay, so that's what it is. So how can we like loop through that, and we can render it out, and we can give it that one. That is what we're going to see. That is what list rendering. Okay, so here I just going to say const name. Okay, so where we can pass it, and instead of passing hello world here, So in the code, I just going to create in the code. I'm going to create a variable. It's going to say const is going to be an array name of an important person. Okay, so it's going to be an array, and that array is going to contain name of a person. Okay, let's say Nabil Sir, and let us go for me. Let us going to say like this. Okay. Now what I want to do, I just want to render. I just want to pass this data. What I want to do is I just want to pass this data inside this list. So how can we pass it? Well, we can pass name, okay, like this. And how we can pass it? So there is a way of passing it is we can say name important, okay, name in square bracket it is going to be the array, right? Mm, uh, we can say simply name in, we can say like this. In the JavaScript code, I just say name in, and this is a square bracket and it is going to be zero. And if I render it, and in the list, I just going to say sorry, top dot name. And if I render, here we need to mention, and you can see Nabil name is mentioned in all the place, right? So now what I want to do is I just want to each and every each and every time the first component takes the first value, second component takes the second value, and the third component takes the third value. So how can we do this? So that is what looping iteration is, right? So we need to achieve iteration, and we know that the iteration concept have achieved by many things. We can use the loop, we can use for each, and we can use map. The best way to use is using map, using map iteration, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to say going to write JavaScript code to do this, and you can see this is an HTML tag. So inside, if you want to write a JavaScript code, you need to use curly braces. So inside this curly braces, I'm going to write the JavaScript code. So what is the JavaScript code that I'm going to write is, so here we have name him. So I just going to name him, okay, dot, okay, name him dot. We can use map method, okay, and I can say function, and that is going to contain each and every value that we are going to get. So that is what the name is. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I just going to return. I just want to return what I want to return. I just want to return each and every time I want to return this component. Okay. This component I want to return. And inside this map, we don't want to pass it. So here you can see the name. I just pass name, and here I am passing the name. Okay. Now what we happen, what it will happen is what it will happen is, so it is an array, it is going to map through the array, and it is going to fetch this nabitu first time, and it is going to return a list, okay, it is going to return me a list for the first time, okay, and the second time it is going to fetch Harry, and it is going to list this component again, okay. So every for every loop the list component is going to be fetched with dynamic data, okay. That is in the array. If we save it, we don't care about error, we will discuss about the error. So first thing we need to notice is we need to change this one to names. Now you can see Nabidu, and you can see Harry, and you can see Mausam, and here you can see Nabidu, Mausam, Harry. You can see that, right? So this is what list rendering is, okay. So this is all about the list rendering, okay. So now you can see, and another error will be came, can see sorry, each child in a list should have a unique key props. So what is mean by that? So simply, so the React will understand. So the React will understand. Okay. So the React will understand if you are returning the same components again and again. So you need to give a unique identity for each and every component. Okay. If your the component is going to be exactly the same. Okay. So then React will confuse what to change and when to change. So for that, what you need to do while you are working with list, you need to give a property, additional property. That is what the key property. Basically, this key property is going to be a unique one. Basically, just a minute. Okay. So basically, this key is going to be a unique one. So then the real world data, it is going to be the ID of each and every object. So that is what the unique data is going to be. So now here we don't have any IDs and all. So what I'm going to do, we know we have a second parameter, that is the index. The index also unique. Just going to pass the index of it. Okay, inside this one. So if I save it and refresh again, you will see we don't get any errors. Don't care about this manifest JSON syntax. That is not an error. Okay, so we don't get any errors. But if you don't give any key here, you will get the error. Okay, it's not going to affect, but it will be key. So if you want to duplicate it, you just want to pass a property called key, and inside that key, you need to give a unique identification for each and every component. First component, it is going to be 0, second, it's 1, 2, like that, right? So you need to give a unique identification. Okay. So if you save, refresh, you will get like this. Okay. So right now, for each and every component, it is going to render. Okay. Render this component. Okay. So that is why we are getting it. So instead of this, if I want the first time I want to render like a bird, okay, and with only Navidusa, and a cat with only Harry, and a polar bear with only Mausha. So what we need to do? Well, simple. You just want to here. Okay, here we are rendering the list, right? So instead of that, you're going to render the entire component, okay, like this, and we will cut off this, okay, and we will paste not here. We need to wrap inside this here. Now the error is happened. So now you can able to see we getting some error. So okay, so this is because we missed out somewhere. Okay, so somewhere the syntax we have missed out. So that is why. So let me we quickly watch it out and we will remove that one. Here, okay. So what we can do? Okay, so let me do. I just cut it out this. Okay, so here I just say return. I just want to return. I just want to remove this one. And I just give here what I want to return. That is going to enclose. I just going to enclose. So to if you want to restructure that one, what we can do, we can do the same process again. Okay, because we don't want to confuse with the errors. Okay, now it is going to return something. You can see still we are getting an error. So which means somewhere we added something extra. The extra thing that we have added is this extra. No, closing. Okay. Let me give it a div first. Okay. Now the error is gone. Okay. So inside the div, I'm just going to write a JavaScript code, and that is going to be the name. Okay. Dot imp. Okay. So the name dot map, and I just going to have a function that is going to have a name. That is going to have name and index. And here I'm just going to pass a value, and it is going to return a component, and that component is going to contain an div, okay, inside the div is going to contain an image, okay, and it will have src and we're going to the image, okay, and we're going to have all, it is going to be the, let's say, okay, so that is what the profile is, okay, right? And I just going to say close it. And here I just going to say the h1 tag, and here we will render the name of the person. Okay? The same process. We are not doing anything differently. Whatever we are rendering it, we are rendering. Okay. So that's what we are doing it. Not something different. Okay. But yeah. So we have fetched it. So the next one, what we going to do? We going to take this one. Copy and let me save this. Now you can see each and every property should have an unique property that is going to be the key. It is not accepting, this key is not accepting this index because here I don't want to rendering the list. I want to pass the key is here inside the tree. I want to pass the key. Pass it here, render. Now no error is there. And here we will give the class name. And what is the class name that before we have given is going to be apply here. And now you can able to see, yeah, you can able to see here the name, and the name, this name is coming from here, the h1. Okay, let us comment off this h1 first now. Okay, we can see the picture name, the picture name, the picture name. But what we have did, so it is rendered for 3-4 times because in app.js file it is rendered, I think, for, yeah, you can see the app.js file, it is rendered for 3 times. That is why it is coming. So don't care about, we don't want to worry about that one. Okay. So simply what we have done. So here, this properties, right? So you can see the props. So that props is coming from, where it is coming from? Well, it is coming from the previous component. And you can able to see we are accessing that previous component, right? Here, what we are doing, and here we are mapping through it, and we are getting another props, and in this component it has a props, and that is coming from its parents, and we are sending the props to another child. Here we are creating an variable, and we are sending the props to another child, and those props are listing here. Okay, so likewise only the props will, we will send the data from one component to another component. The same process will taken forward for the class based component. Okay, it is also taken care. And you can able to see here the name, here also name, and here also name. So that is why this is not using. Let me give this as name, this as names. Okay, and here you can mention it as, now this is accessible, and this is name coming from here. Access it, and it will be work fine. You will get 2 times name every time. You will get a 2 times of the names of the property you're going to get. Okay, so this is what it is, and this is what about the listing thing. Okay, you can see here, and here in app.js, you need to change this to names, and you will get the names for 2 times. See bird, and you can see Hari, and you can see birds is going to be Mozam, and it is going to be cat, it is going to be W2. Like that, every time it is going to render the component, and every time it is going to loop through, and it is going to give a 3 component name for each and every component. Okay, so this is what list rendering. So when it comes to list rendering, you need to focus 2 things. One is when you are list rendering, each and every component you need to return it. Okay, so for that you need to use the correct iteration concept. That's what you need to do. And second one is going to be like, you can able to pass a props, but while processing a props, each and every component should have a unique key. Okay, so if you are returning a component that is inside a list, okay, so then those component are going to be exactly the same, and React will don't know whether it is going to be a different component or the same component. Okay, it is considered as the same component when you are listed. And why we need to pass a key basically means we need to pass a key because whenever we are changing any DOM operation, okay, React will automatically go and it will change the DOM. Okay, so here we will don't write each and every steps. You need to do this, you need to do that, like click the button, add an event listener, and if someone clicks it, you need to do that. We don't do like that. So what React will do means, in React the DOM operations are declarative, which means we will tell the starting stage of our component, and if something has happened, which means the event listening has happened, so what is our ending stage is going to be. Okay, so that is what basically we will tell. Okay, and React will find an optimized way to convert our starting stage to the final stage. Okay, so that's what React will do. So for doing that, React follows something called as virtual DOM. Okay, it will create a virtual DOM, and whenever an event is occurs, okay, it will find an optimized way to change that. Okay, we don't want to tell how to do, what to do, and everything. Okay, we just simply say this is our starting file, this is our ending file, like anything. This is our starting file, this is our ending file, and what is the transition I need to give, and the software will do it, right? So starting file, transition, ending file. And likewise, we're going to have a starting file, and we will tell the event listeners what to do. And once it is rendering, like once it is rendered, it is going to finish off the ending component. Okay, so that is called as states. Okay, so that is what we're going to discuss it in the Thursday. So the day 3 of class, we're going to see about the states in React. Okay, we're going to discuss that one. So this is all about props and list rendering. Okay, so today we have completed this concept. Okay, if you have any doubts right now, you can ask me. Okay, how to get yesterday video, sir? Like the yesterday video is already in YouTube. Okay, so that is live, it is available. Okay, you can go and click on the live icon. You can able to see the previous day React, day 1 of React, it will be available, and you can able to see the live chat also. Okay, in the day 1 you will get an attendance form. Okay, so if you see the live chat, you can able to see the attendance form. When I share the attendance form, you can able to get it. Just fill the attendance form of day 1 also, then probably you can get the certificate. Okay, so it is already in YouTube, and this is also a live, but it is also recorded in the channel. Okay, so you can check it out there. Okay, any other doubts? If you have, you can ask me. So let me share the attendance form for today. Have a minute. Sorry guys, so the chat the attendance form is shared in the chat box, so please fill your attendance, please give all the details of the attendance that it is mentioned in the chat box. And once you filled it, just tell your name. Okay, I will cross check with that. Okay, so please, once you've done with that, tell your name to me and inform me. I will check with that. Okay, and if you have any doubts, you can ask with me now. We have 2 more minutes to end the line. We can discuss it. Okay. Okay, all. Thank you all for your responses. Tomorrow there is tomorrow there is no class is going to be there. Okay, so you will get the third day of React classes in the 20. Okay, so 20 only you will get the third day workshop, and 21 is going to be the final day. So in 20 we will discuss about the states and how to work with events. Okay, so event listeners and states we're going to see, and in 21 we will work with some of the hooks. Okay, so the basic hooks and how to handle APIs and those things and all. Okay, so those all are the necessary for the front end. We will discuss that. Okay, so thank you all. See you.